Here we go. Take number 2. This is how you know that this show is live and in living color. In the old days, we would have had the mistake and just kept going and going and going. Tonight on the board, we have got a technical director that says, no. If we are going to start the first show of the week off, then we're going to start it right. And that's why Andy Assaf is the man that our chief political correspondent, Sid Rock, has named and declared as the #1 tech in at-home history. Now, the voting committee at the AHA's 2020 edition voted me as the #1 tech. And this is why, at least for tonight, I will relinquish that award and hand it to Andy Assaf, for he did something that I never would have been able to do. He identified a problem and he fixed it. I am James, you are you. We are here for the beginning of the week on the show that won't go away. It is At Home with James live on Twitch. Thank you so much for beginning your week with us, your Monday evening, whether you're enjoying the weather, whether you might be looking at it like a true goodbye to the good days, or maybe you hate it. Maybe you're someone who's a little bit like me, who couldn't be more excited. This is the farewell to August edition of At Home, and I couldn't be any happier. I am happier than a pig in their own you know what. We're saying goodbye to quite possibly the worst month of the year. Now, some people, they get what they call the winter blues, January, February, sometimes March. I get the summer sadness in the month of August. And the past 2 weeks were a true test. And this is the thing about me. I was never one to be good at a test, whether it was math, French, geography, history, gym. I'm a bad test taker until this past month. Pushed to my limits, back against the wall, I charged through with my head down, and I made it out with flying colors, A+, 100%, no room for improvement. I have reached the mountaintop. The peak is where I stand. I have planted my flag, and what waves in the wind reads JAMES, the number 4, PRIME, space MINISTER. That's right. I am here to officially declare myself. I am running for Prime Minister of Canada. And I'm on the Twitch party. So all of my constituents are huge nerds. And I'm telling you what, I'm coming for the big house in Ottawa. Let me tell you right now, this intro rules. I did one moments ago. It wouldn't have been half as good. I was singing the Mamas and the Papas. I'm over here. I'm going to talk about John Phillips, one of the all-time perverts in music, frankly, in American history. But instead, you're getting unbridled and unfiltered James. Tonight is a very, very fun episode. Not only is it going to be Mailbag Monday, but we are also going to be bringing back an all-time favorite on this show. It is hard-hitting questions. Who will be the recipient of these questions? The one and only Thomas Barnwell. He will be answering each and every one of these carefully selected and curated questions by yours truly, Lil Cutie, aka Cool Breeze Lover. And I'll tell you what, that cool breeze is coming. And when the cool breeze is coming, I start running. There's something I'm crying. There's something so pathetic about this show, when the biggest laugh that I have given in the past months have been by way of my own joke. What if I start getting my own merchandise made, right? Right here, you look at me, I got a Vans cap, I got a Vans shirt. I'm the Vans man. You can't see it, I'm wearing Vans shoes too. Look, I'm not a walking billboard for them, but if anyone from the Vans company is watching right now, I'm looking for sponsorship. But what if shirt just like this? Instead of Vans, you got Cool Breeze Lover on the back. When the cool breeze starts a coming, what the hell was the slow? I started running was funnier the first time. What I've done is I've taken a great intro and I've sent it into the toilet. In any event, it is also Mailbag Monday. Why wait? You're out there, you're surfing along the information superhighway, and you're saying to yourself, James, well, who's answering the mailbag questions? Why am I giving the audience a nerd voice, right? It's not even a nerd voice. It's like a pathetic wimp. Mailbag Monday. Let's welcome the recipient of these questions, the one and only, straight off of an aeroplane, Andy Assaf. Andy, how's it going, buddy?
Whoa.
You're tired, you're tattered, but you're here.
James, I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to restart the show at a moment's notice. If there's another technical issue, I'll do it. We'll take it from the top.
And I'll tell you what, if that happens, you have my full clearance. Look, here's the thing.
This is too much. This is too much power to be given me. I'm really out of it. I shouldn't be flying this ship, let alone
I'm going to tell you what, for someone that's got jet lag, not only, as I mentioned, did you identify a problem, you corrected it. You told me. I knew something was up. I was doing intro number 1. I hear the voice, and I think something might be wrong, but who knows what it is? Is it lagging video? Do they still hear my audio? I'm gonna charge through until I finally hear the words. James, I went to the technical difficulty screen. Andy, dare I say, you are a hero.
Oh, well, James, I don't do it for that. I do it mainly for Sydney Rock's endorsement. So,
well, at least for tonight, you are the best tech in show history. Andy, it's Mailbag Monday. I have to ask you, you were on a trip recently. How'd your trip go?
It was good, James. It was relaxing. I went to the mountains of Jasper. Have you ever been to Jasper, James?
No, the only thing I've ever seen in Alberta is the Calgary airport. And I'll tell you what, it sucked.
Well, most things in that province do. But I will tell you this, spicy take, I know. Very fun time in Jasper. I got to see some wooded areas. I saw some animals. I saw like beautiful mountains. They got some great mountains there. It's the Canadian Rockies. I don't know if you've heard about these, right? But I quite enjoyed the town itself. Felt very much like an Aspen or like Whistler or like one of these just little touristy ski towns.
Sure.
Anyways, it was very charming, and I think you would probably like all the little shops and little doodads and things you could find around town.
I love a doodad. I love a knick-knack.
A post office
a
post office that is just tiny and quaint. That kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Come again?
Just like me.
Exactly. You are the post office, the Jasper post office of the Twitch world.
I'll tell you what, just like a post office, I'm reliable and always there. Andy, what was the weather like? Was there a cool breeze?
There was a cool breeze. And you know what? When it was coming, I got to a running because I needed to stay warm. I didn't pack enough layers.
Here's the thing. I might be the original cool breeze lover, but it doesn't mean I have to be the only one. In fact, hold on. Let me put this on my idea sheet. Membership cards, other cool breeze lovers. I love it. Andy, when we first spoke today, because usually this is where Dave Kaufman sits in. Dave Kaufman, as happens periodically in our tech director world, we sometimes, and by we, I mean the three of you, facilitate trades. I can't do this. Can you do that? If I do this, can you do that? Andy, you stepped in. I was not aware that you were en route back to Toronto, Ontario. You told me, I'm running low on energy. I can't prepare anything. I was not aware that you were running on empty. You know that song?
Oh, yeah. Is that Seeger?
Yeah, it's not Bob Seger. You want to take another try?
Let's see.
Bob Seger would be talking.
Can you sing me a bigger clip?
Running on empty, running on.
That's it? What is he running on?
More? Well, I got to keep doing more?
Yeah, give me one more verse.
What's the one? What? Running into the sun because I'm running behind. I don't even think that's the lyric. Running into the sun.
Is this the Eagles?
It's not the Eagles, but it's of that ilk, right? No. If it were Bob Seger, he'd be talking about the night moves.
That's good.
Or maybe he'd be talking about a rambling, gambling man. And if it were the Eagles, they'd be talking about Take it easy.
That's what I'm thinking of. I think I confused
Right?
it with Take It Easy.
We're talking right
I
now.
officially give up, James. I tap out on
We're talking
Running
about
on Empty.
Jackson Brown.
Jackson Brown.
Yeah, one of music's all-time great wimps.
Can't say I'm familiar, but I do like that. I do love a good wimp.
Look, I'll tell you what about Jack. We talk about Running on Empty. That's a great late night song. I imagine we got Thomas Barnwell on the show later, right? In my brain, this guy's he's on a road trip. Maybe he's driving his family out to Florida for a trip. His wife fell asleep. His kids are in the back. They fell asleep. And then Jackson Brown, Running on Empty, comes on. It gives him just what he needs to get that boost to the next exit.
Yeah, to get through Georgia.
Yeah.
And Virginia. Hey,
Now,
James, I have a quick question that just came to me. Speaking of rock and roll wimps, do you think Tom Petty was a wimp?
No, I do not think Tom Petty was a wimp. I've got all the respect in the world for Tom Petty.
Okay.
Well, do you think Tom Petty was a wimp? This is a show topic right here. Was Tom Petty a wimp?
Look,
I say no.
Look, he's got wimpy songs, you know?
Like what?
Like Free Fallin'?
Free Fallin' is a wimpy song?
Yeah, it's all about like, oh, I'm falling out of a plane. I don't have a parachute, you know?
I'm falling out of a plane and I don't have a parachute.
Yeah, he's got to be a wimp to get into that scenario, you know?
These lyrics, they're sweet and charming, right? He's talking about, right, she's a good girl. She loves her mama.
What you just did there was very wimpy.
She loves horses.
That's a wimpy.
And America too.
You are proving my point.
Yeah, but what about this part? He goes, I'm a bad boy.
Do you believe it in that tone, James?
Well, he
now
also
we have
wrote
an unreliable narrator.
Okay, so hold on. You want to talk about Tom Petty being a bad boy? What about this lyric? So let's get to the point. Let's roll another joint and turn the radio loud. He's turning up the radio and he's rolling joints and he wants to get to the point.
That's him trying to fit in with his older brother's friends. And they're like, dude, we don't
Look,
do
I'll tell you what. This is what I'll
anymore.
concede to you. When Tom Petty was part of the super group Traveling Wilburys, that's a wimpy group, right?
Come on. Traveling Wilburys sounds like a kid's entertainment group.
And look, I don't agree with you. That's where we're going to find the middle ground. Andy, as much as I would love to sing Americana Gold Rock from the 70s.
Isn't this mailbag?
Yeah, it is the mailbag. So, Andy, what say we kick it into high gear? We've got a series of questions. Are you ready for just a few before you come back later on? Because this is a very big mailbag tonight. Andy, are you ready?
The quaint Jamestown post office is now open.
It is open. Here we go. Question number 1 tonight comes from Rob. It goes as follows. Hey, Andy, what's up? Anyways, I'm going to cut right to the chase.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you and the listeners. Well, it's a visual show, but he goes on to say, I love the ladies, so I'll cut right to the chase. I know that you're a bit of a Casanova in your own right, so here's the deal. This is a really roundabout way of asking a question.
Is he going to say anyways again?
When it comes to kissing on a first date, are you a yay or a no way? Some say it's too fast, but I say ain't no time like the right time. Thanks. And he signs it, Rob the Tongue Fung.
Well, I don't know. With a nickname like that, I feel like he probably does one of those options more than the other.
Well, yeah, I think it seems clear that he wastes no time in trying to lock lips. Andy, what do you think? Would you consider yourself a Casanova in your own right?
Look, maybe not in my right, maybe in somebody's other right. I'm more of a mold of a Tom Petty of sorts. I'm very bashful, I'd say, on the first date. If the option if the moment comes up where a first kiss is going to be initiated, yes.
Okay.
Caveat: it's COVID, so maybe we wait on that a bit, right? We don't do that for a while. Maybe we don't even date during COVID because let's not do that.
Okay.
Here's another thing. He had a motto in it, James. Can you repeat that motto at the end?
Let me go back to this motto.
What I always say, he said something?
Yeah, it said so much by saying almost nothing, quote, but I say ain't no time like the right time. which
So it's what kind of what I say, what I was saying, where it's like, yes, if the moment presents itself and it's welcomed, right? I'd say yes.
Okay, so you could go either way.
I could go either way. I don't know if I would say. Let me put it this way: I wouldn't initiate it by saying that sentence to the person I'm on a date with.
Well, yeah, I can't believe that Rob the Tongue Fung does either.
I wouldn't necessarily go by that name either.
Sure.
Although, actually, I might be coming around on that opinion too.
All right. Well, there's your answer, Rob. Hopefully that helps. Andy, you ready for the next question?
Hit me.
This one comes from Aileen Gervais. Hi, Andy. I love your work on Live with James. Not the name of the show. Okay. In fact, the only time I watch is when you are on. My husband thinks I have a schoolgirl crush on you, but let's face it, I'm old enough to be your mother. Plus, I'm sure many schoolgirls have crushes on you. LOL. Okay.
All right. Well,
I'm not sure if Eileen knows how old you are, but let's move on. I wanted to get your advice on something. My son is a bit of a bad boy and often acts out of line. Now, you seem like an angel, but I'm sure there must have been a devilish side to you at one point. LOL. This is all to say, what should I do? I need a young man's perspective on how to connect with my out-of-control son. Thanks, Aileen. I think it's interesting that she's coming to you and not her husband.
Yeah, when I picture this woman in my head, I'm just picturing the devil emoji. It's interesting. Yeah, okay, so a couple red flags there. The amounts of schoolgirl references was a bit disturbing. But I will say, Eileen, I take the compliment. Thank you for the flattery. Women who are the age of my mother are my demographic. They tend to find me handsome for whatever reason. This goes back to in high school. I always tell this story, James, of when Dimitri and I hosted a talent show together. All the girls our grade loved Dimitri, of course. Come on, look at the guy. But then everyone's mom made a comment about me. So
what kind of comment?
They said I was very classically handsome. Was a common comment, which I didn't even know was it a term you would say to people. Classically handsome.
You've got a bit of an old Hollywood structure. I think
Thank you.
When you've got shorter hair and just a mustache, there's something very black and white about you.
That's interesting. Black and white. I've never been described as that, but I'll take that again as a compliment. So I'm taking these compliments in stride. Speaking of compliments, we're dealing with a young man who's acting out, right? She didn't really give any examples.
There's no specifics. I'm going to assume probably rebellious, maybe a bit of a smart aleck, just kind of a hot-tempered youngster.
Okay. So here's my suggestion that I'd give to Eileen. Was it Elaine?
I believe it's Aileen. Aileen. So Aileen, if there's any mispronunciation, we apologize.
Look, Aileen, if you're anything like most mothers I come across, mothers can be very critical, especially when you're comparing your son to, people you have schoolgirl crushes with on the internet. And I don't think that's helpful. So what I'd say is go to your son, give him a compliment. Tell him he's doing a good job. Tell him you're proud of him. All right? Tell him he's got a very black and white energy. I think he'll like that. I think that he'll respond to that, and maybe he'll start to crawl out of his shell a bit and not act out so much.
All right. Now, just out of curiosity, you mentioned a lot of the mothers you come into contact with are critical. Andy, how many mothers are you coming into contact with?
In any given week, it could be 7 to 12, but that's a conversation for another time, James.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next question before we invite Thomas onto the show. This comes by email. There is no name. It's just an email address, so bear with me here. This one comes in from db_improvman@gmail.com. db_improvman@gmail.com. Question goes as follows. Hey, question for you, Mr. Assaf. After watching the show, I noticed that you and I have a similar problem. I caught a few episodes where the buffer rate was a little choppy. So this probably in relation to our low buffer rate episodes when Andy, you were
lo-fi.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was mobile on the road.
Absolutely. He goes on to say, I've encountered a similar problem in my own right. Between you and me, I like to enjoy a certain type of film from time to time. No, I'm not talking about a big budget Hollywood blockbuster.
What is he talking about?
I'm talking about more of a one camera, dimly lit San Fernando Valley nut blaster. Something of the adult variety if you haven't caught my drift already.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, my buffer rate keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Is there anything you did to solve the issue on your end? I've tried almost everything, and at this point, I'm at a loss and I'm basically tugging rope due to low quality. Anyways, let me know.
So first things first, I think it's interesting he knows the specific Los Angeles county that the films of his choice he likes are shot in, San Fernando Valley. You know, I there was a lot going on in there. Tugging rope. DB Improv King, whatever it was.
I believe it was DB_improv man at
Improv
gmail.com.
Man. You know, I think you should take your name to heart and improvise a bit. You know, like I remember early days, my young days, as I like to say. The only moments of, let's say, reprise a young man could find, even in the age of the burgeoning internet, was staying up very late to watch the, you know, Canal Plus, where they would have La Nuit Bleue, you know, and sometimes there were some films of that nature, if you catch my drift. And you have to get, and sometimes, you know, you switch the channel and you find a channel where it's like, you know, remember the static days.
You're talking about scrambled pay-per-view.
And yeah, and you can kind of see like a boob kind of scan down at points, and you hear like some sort of jarble moaning, perhaps. You know, it's some sort of like weird Star Trek transmission of body parts of some sort, like an alien race is trying to tell you how their anatomy works. And you know what? Yes, it can sometimes feel like, as you put it, you know, tying a sailor's knot. You know what I mean? Some rope burn can happen. But you know, you just got to push through. You got to persevere. You got to get creative. I think you got to let your imaginations roam. DB, you got to improvise. You know, not all of us can have TELUS high-speed fiber optic internet that they do in Alberta, actually, which is pretty impressive that Alberta gets that first.
All right. Well, that sounds like a pretty. You're giving DB_improv man at gmail.com some options, right? And we're not saying that you're going to solve any of these problems. No. They're just answers to questions. So if anyone's out there and they use these and they don't necessarily evolve to their desired outcome, again, we're not experts here. These are just mailbag questions.
Check in and see if Nuit Bleue is still a thing.
Yeah.
Usually
I believe you mean Bleu Nuit.
Bleu
right?
Nuit, Bleu Nuit.
We don't want to offend any of the Quebec pornographic aficionados out there.
Bleu Nuit and what's the other one? Bruno, Big Bruno, whatever his name is.
Well, Andy, that might be some niche stuff that only you're familiar with. Andy, do you want to come back and answer more questions from the mailbag in just a little bit?
I'd love to. I'm going to go look up what his name is.
Please do. Yeah.
Bruno
this is
B,
my question to you. I want an update on this later on.
Yeah, I'll have some images.
We'll check in a little bit, okay?
All right. Bye, James.
All right. Thanks, Andy. Before we move on to hard-hitting questions, I have to let you know that we will be back this coming Wednesday. That's right. Last week, we only had Monday, Friday. Tonight, the sandwich begins to be made. The bread is here. Wednesday is the insides, whether it's PB, J, or M, which stands for meat. And then Friday, we close out the sandwich. What's going to happen this Wednesday? Well, the man that's on the hunt for pornographic information, Andy Assaf, is back. In addition to this, I am working on bringing in some guests that we haven't seen in just a little while. That is this Wednesday right here on Twitch. Let's welcome our next guest. He is going to face the firing squad, as it were, with a variety of hard-hitting questions. Here he is, Thomas Barnwell. Thomas, how's it going, buddy?
Great, CBL. How are you?
CBL, cool breeze lover. Would you say that you're a cool breeze lover in your own right? Do you like the cool breeze, Thomas?
I love the cool breeze. I got to admit it.
Okay, I'm writing this right down. Make Thomas a membership card. So with every membership card, you get 10% off the t-shirts I'm going to be selling.
Wow. Thank you.
For you, maybe we'll make it 15. Now, when we're talking about t-shirts, I'm wearing one, but Thomas, you are dressed very, very nicely. I've never seen anyone dress up so appropriately for this show. I appreciate that. What's the occasion?
Well, whenever I get invited onto James's house party, and particularly tonight with the death of August. So.
Okay, so you're in a bit of a place of mourning, right? So this is to say that you're wearing your funeral clothes.
I'm wearing my funeral clothes. Yeah.
Now, can I ask you, with this outfit, does it get pulled out at any other occasions, like graduations? Maybe some type. Okay, so with a wedding, is this an all-purpose outfit or purely for a place of mourning?
Well, first of all, I'm not really mourning. I'm glad to see August go, but
you and I agree, right?
Yeah.
I have maintained that you and I have a lot of similarities that we have yet to scratch the surface on. Now, this isn't to say that the fact that people are happy that summer is on its last legs, that's not a shocking thing. But I think there are some people that really despise that shift because it represents winter, where I am of the opinion of no, this is the reprise where we get to enjoy the best of summer in the most comfortable of ways. So this is where we bond. Thomas, I interrupted. Please continue.
No, I agree. By the second week of August, I'm done with summer. I just want the fall to come. And but anyway, this suit serves many purposes, and I'm sure one day I'll be buried in it. So
I'll tell you what, I'm laughing a lot tonight. And there's some nights on this show where you go from 9:05 to 10:15. I'm not laughing, and if I am, I'm putting on the Ritz tonight. I'm clocking in at some of the most laughs in a number of months, and I'll tell you why. You and I agree. It's because August, we are 2 days away, and I'll tell you what, if we were still in that heat wave, dare I say, if this was a week ago tonight, you're not wearing that suit. You might be wearing a tank top, or you might just be shirtless.
Not shirtless, but I would be wearing the sort of clothes that you wear when you want to hold the pillow over the face of August.
Yeah. So earlier on tonight, I'm talking about John Phillips, and now we're going into a place of murder. So there's a lot of debauchery on tonight's show, but perhaps there might be more to come. Thomas, you have answered a challenge that only 2 other people have on this show. Their names are Alex Gauthier, and of course, famous for not ever wanting to appear on this show, Jess Fields. You're answering the challenge to hard-hitting questions. Now, can I ask you, are there any nerves before we break into these question and answers?
A bit, because I didn't learn that I answered the challenge until I actually clicked on the button.
That's the Zoom link that I sent
you.
The Zoom
link, right, exactly.
In a Facebook Messenger chat. Earlier on today, I said, Tom, it's been a while. You want to come on the show? You said, James, I'm in. You click the link that I sent you at about 8, about 8:50. I said, Thomas, we're going to do this tonight. You said, sounds good. So for me, that's good enough to be a challenge answered.
Yep.
And you're rather imposed.
Exactly. Your lawyers were here with the release, and I signed it. So.
I had my hired goons kind of shake you down and hover over you. I had them go out to your neck of the woods. My toughs, as I call them, collectively known as rough and tumble. Maybe we'll get them on the show at some point, but we basically force you into this. So the question is, before we get into the real questions, Thomas, are you ready?
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be.
Here's the thing. These are very specific. We've broken these hard-hitting questions up into 3 categories, and the categories are music questions, life questions, and silly questions. So the first one is a life question. Thomas, how about you tell us where you grew up?
Okay. Well, I was born in New York City, and I lived in the Bronx till I was about 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Then we moved to a suburb of New York City called Pearl River, New York.
Sure.
And I lived there till I was about 27 or so. And I was working, and I was transferred to Buffalo, New York. And I spent
which you have detailed on this show, which we've detailed in a time or two. Yeah.
So I guess I can stop there because you only want to know about where I grew up.
Yeah, this is the thing. The questions are very specific. They don't want to know what happened. Hold on. Yeah, there's an asterisk here. No information past New York City. Okay, so let's stay on topic here. The Bronx and Pearl River. Did you have a preference between one or the other?
Well, Pearl River was a pretty quiet suburb,
Mm-hmm.
and not a fancy suburb like most people were, like, plumbers or cops or firemen. So when I was younger, I thought it was boring. Now that I'm older, I crave the boring. So
yeah, you crave Pearl River. Can I know a little bit about what it was like? Now, how old were you before you left the Bronx? At what age again? Was that 7 or am I incorrect?
Yeah, 7 or 8, something like that.
7 or 8. What were your memories of the Bronx at that time as a youngster?
Well, this was like the mid '60s, so crime in New York City was going up, and so it wasn't a great. I mean, there are nice places at the Bronx, and we lived in a nice place.
Yeah.
We lived in a fairly small apartment, and so.
Now, was it anything like Taxi Driver?
I didn't drive a taxi. No, it's
or rather when I say the film,
taxi
okay.
Driver. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, were you a 7-year-old taxi driver in New York City? The kids grow up so fast.
Well, a bit, because I actually went to university in New York City and at Manhattan College, and which was in the Bronx, oddly enough. And so so this was like the late '70s in New York City. We used to go down to Times Square and hang out and just watch the freak show. So it was a bit.
Okay, so I'm gonna write a note down here. I want to see if we can detail. We might have to have you on for a full hour. I want you to paint a picture of New York City and what some might call the golden era.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So you say the word freak show, I'm immediately interested, but that's for another episode. We're going to move on to question number 2. Again, it's another life question and centers around New York City. So Thomas, what's something that you miss about New York City? Now, you mentioned you crave the boring, but is there one or even a few things that you're like, if I could just go back, this would be great, that would be fun?
Well, first of all, New York City, it's like it's open 24 hours a day, so you can do whatever you want to go grocery shopping at 2 a.m, you can do that.
Yep.
But there's a lot I don't miss. I mean,
now this is what I'm interested in.
I mean, like Montreal's very livable. Like, I mean, as difficult as the parking situation is, it's nothing compared to New York City.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And, there's good restaurants, a lot of stuff to do.
So the reviews are in. If someone was like, I saw you had that guy who grew up in New York City on the show. What's something that he said he misses? I would say shopping for groceries at 2 a.m., good food.
Good food. Newsstand to get newspapers or the day. So
look, there we go. The question has been asked and the answer has been received. We're going to move on. This is a music question, Thomas. Here we go. Tell us, what was your first concert? Any fond memories?
Well, I don't know. It's a fond memory, but the first concert I went to see was this group called Black Oak, Arkansas.
Okay.
And they had their moment of fame in the mid to late 70s.
Okay.
And they got some exposure because there was a big 2-day concert in California. I think it was called the US Festival or something.
Sure, yep.
And it was broadcast on TV, and so.
Now this is I like myself some classic music. Now, I don't know of this group. Can you find some comparable sounds for me that might tickle my curiosity?
Well, they were sort of like a country rock band.
Okay.
But kind of a cheesy country rock band.
Okay, so maybe not something like a Skynyrd or
they're a little bit like they're
okay.
They're like a poor man's Leonard Skinner.
A poor man's Leonard Skinner. Where are they in relation to maybe the Allman Brothers?
Oh, nowhere near the Allman Brothers.
Nowhere. Now, are you an Allman Brothers guy?
I wasn't when I was in high school, and they were
Yeah.
big when I was in high school. But
Yeah.
I've come around to them. I mean,
I'll tell you what, Thomas, here's something we can talk about moving forward at a later date. Mutual enjoyment for the Allman Brothers.
yeah.
I'll tell you what, what's a spooky song to listen to in the dark? In Memory of Elizabeth Reed.
Yeah.
That is a very eerie song.
But you should turn a light on. So
there you go. So any type of eeriness goes away with the simple move of one light switch. Let's move on. And also, you mentioned no fond memories. Is that what I?
Just two more quick things about that.
Please,
The opening act was Foghat.
Of course, famously known for Slow Ride.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing was, like, I guess I was about 14 or so. There was a guy with long blonde hair and a huge, big blonde beard, wearing this gold lame gown.
Yeah.
And he was just really dancing. And so I was young and innocent, and I'd never seen anything like that before. And it seemed out of place at a country rock.
Yeah, right. That's something maybe you'd imagine more at Woodstock or something. So it sounds like he's still embracing the love and peace of music.
Right, or maybe at a Roxy Music concert.
There you go. Yeah, so some type of
glam group or something.
There you go. Absolutely. So we're going to move on to our next question here. Again, another music question. Thomas, can you please rank the following from favorite to least favorite? Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. From favorite to least favorite.
Wow.
Or if you're inspired, least favorite to favorite.
Okay. Now we're only speaking about musical ability, not weird personality.
It's whatever you want, right?
Okay. Musically, I'd have to say Neil Young is my favorite.
Sure.
Stephen Stills second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Graham Nash at third base, and David Crosby last. Now that's musical.
Yeah. Okay. So that's musical, right? So we've got Young, Stills, Nash, and Crosby. Let's away from music. What's your ranking from favorite to least favorite?
Personality wise, is that okay? Nash. Oh, this is tough because the other. I'm gonna say Crosby, and then Young. Now, that could be a tie.
Could be.
They're both difficult people.
Yeah.
And Stephen Stills last. So.
Yeah, Stephen Stills last. Now, have you ever seen that footage of Stephen Stills swearing at David Crosby while David Crosby lays in a hammock looking up at him with the least possible interest or least amount of affected energy I may have ever seen anyone who is being cursed at? Have you ever seen this footage?
I have not seen that. I'm
going to send this to you.
Okay.
Because this is truly, I've never seen anyone yelled at so much without having any reaction. And not even just, I'm ignoring this. Complete and utter disinterest. Great cameo from a hammock at the same time as well.
I read an interview with one of them. I think it was Neil, might have been Graham Nash actually. And he was saying that they had done some recording, like put down some demos and stuff, and whatever it was, like Stephen Stills was pissed about, he took a razor to the reel of tape and just sliced it.
Oh, great.
Out of spite,
Yeah, butchering what could have been timeless work.
Hey, what can I tell you?
What can I tell you? Let's move on to our next question.
Everybody works with an asshole. So.
Well, that's the thing, right? When you work with one, you can't expect them to be not expect them to be stinky. Here's our next question. It's silly. Thomas, do you have a strong or any opinion on novelty hats? So maybe what I'm imagining is a foam dome or some type of, I believe you've been on the show wearing a St. Patrick's Day top hat. You have a strong opinion, good or bad, on novelty hats.
I love them all.
Love them.
Yep. I mean, you know, in their appropriate place.
Right. Okay. So
like the sun visor with the fake hair.
Oh yeah. Now, can I ask, do you own the sun visor with the fake hair?
I don't. I'm saving up for one. But
all right. Well, hold on here. Let's take another note. Novelty hat night on the show. We can put that in our stupid programming week. Let's move on. There we go. That's a silly question. There's not a lot of substance to that one. Let's move on to our next question. So this one is also another silly question. Thomas, who would you say is creepier, Robert Blake or Phil Spector?
Wow. I got to go with Phil Spector.
Is it the hair?
It's the hair. I mean,
yeah.
That pushes him over the edge.
Yeah.
And, but they both killed their significant others. Right?
Yeah. This is the thing, right? They're both.
So that's a tie. That's a tie. So it's
exactly. Yeah. That's the tie. So it's either, you know, we come down to Phil Spector's weird hair, or the fact that Robert Blake used to be a little rascal.
That's right. And he had that great TV series, Beretta.
Well, and this is the thing about the Little Rascals. There's allegedly a curse that shrouds and hangs over the Little Rascals, where many of them died at a young age, or they found themselves during hard times. And of course, Robert Blake murdered someone. So You're going Phil Spector, but you know what? Great Christmas album.
Yeah. And, you know, great record producer too. I mean, you can't take that away from him. So
now, what do you think of a Robert Blake Christmas album may have sounded or been like? You know, I'll tell you what, there's no one else watching this right now who's like, what are they talking about, Robert Blake? Right? I don't even know what my demographic is anymore.
Yeah. I think I'm it. Sorry, buddy.
Look, that works for me. What do you think of Robert Blake Christmas? Do you think it's an album or one of those like specials where it's like, oh, someone's at the door?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
And then each guest he shoots.
Yeah, so. He murders all the guests. It's his first and only Christmas special. Look, that's why these are silly questions. So if anyone's tuning in right now and they're wondering why, it's because this is a silly question.
Murder is silly, really. Right?
Yeah. We're talking about the pros and cons of two specific celebrity murderers. Here's another question, again from the music standpoint of things. Thomas, can you please put together the worst possible supergroup? Now, we talked about the Traveling Wilburys earlier on. This is it's a fun question, but there's a lot that you could add to this. Now, is there anyone that really stands out for the worst possible supergroup?
Neil Sedaka.
Okay, right. So you're not a fan of Bad Blood, right? That's a pretty wimpy song too.
Yeah, and Stupid Cupid.
Yeah.
John Tesh.
You may have hit the home run with John Tesh. Neil Sedaka, John Tesh. Let's continue.
Kenny G on sax.
Oh God. Yeah.
And we need a good drummer.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with, this might be a little obscure, but Dave Clark from the Dave Clark Five.
Okay, this is, again, that's an obscure pick. You're coming in with like kind of a sneaky one. Okay.
Only because if you know, they were popular in the 60s, right? But you should look at him now. He's got massive eyebrows that are clearly surgical implants. So.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna write another We're gonna get this Dave Clark on, and Vance Gillis, friend of the show, who's also a legendary eyebrows, is gonna talk about Dave Clark's eyebrows. So you've got Dave Clark on drums, John Tesh, I assume, on keyboard or piano. Neil Sedaka is singing, I would imagine.
Singing and some keys. So.
Okay, and then you've got Kenny G on sax, so you've got room for a guitarist or a bassist, or possibly another instrument. Again, this is the worst supergroup, so perhaps it's another instrument.
Yeah. You know, I think this group needs flute. And but you know, the obvious choice is Ian Anderson, but
right.
There's another guy who plays the flute, and I can't remember.
Now, what if it was an Ian Anderson impersonator? What if it's someone who's got one of those Jethro Tull cover bands, and in this supergroup, you can't get Ian Anderson, but you get the next best thing. You get the guy that does Ian Anderson in a Jethro Tull cover band.
Yeah. Or you get Dee Snider from Twisted Sister.
Now, that's where he's almost the albatross in this group.
Really? That's the thing that's keeping them from taking place.
I am really, this supergroup speaks to my specific tastes when it comes to finding comedy in music. This group is so bad. It's so bad, and you put this together so quickly that I don't know if I've ever been more impressed with an isolated moment in the history of this bleeping show. Wow. And there's no hyperbole there. The second you said John Tesh, I thought, this guy gets it.
Yeah, I can't. There's a, you know. Anyway.
This is what I'm going to do. I want Andy's working tonight's show. I want him to do some research because we got time for one more question. Andy, can you start looking into, I'm assuming you're looking for was it a rock band flutist or folk band or something like that?
No, rock band flutist.
But yeah, search famous rock band flutists. And when he comes back for the rest of his mailbag, we might get it. Now, is there any idea of who this person played for? I'm trying to think of other bands that featured the flute.
Oh, I know. I can't think of his name, but the guy from the Moody Blues who played the flute.
Okay, there we go. So, Andy, we want you to look for the band members of the Moody Blues. Now, this is very much in line with a pick. So we're pushing Dee Snider of Twisted Sister out of here.
Sorry,
and I think we might be getting the answer in any minute now, coming from Andy, because
their flautist is named Ray Thomas.
Ray Thomas is rounding out the worst supergroup according to Thomas Barnwell. Now, Thomas, just to finish things off, would you like to name this band?
Oh, wow. The Flying Cabbage. I don't know.
Yeah, the Flying Cabbage. There we go. Not to be confused with the Flying Burrito Brothers. We got the Flying Cabbage. Now we're gonna end. We've got one last live question here. Very simple. Thomas, outside of the improvement of weather, what are you most looking forward to as fall 2021 approaches?
Cool weather and wearing a sweater. You know.
Thomas, I couldn't have said it better myself. From one cool breeze lover to another, I will see you as we walk along the leaves that crisp and crunch underneath our feet.
Okay.
Which is also lyrics from the upcoming band, The Flying Cabbage. Thomas, thanks for doing this tonight.
I loved it, James. Thanks.
Much appreciated. I loved it too. That's Thomas Barnwell. Look, you think I care if people I don't understand what they're talking about. This guy came on the show. He's talking about Dave Clark and John Tesh. This is like he shot an arrow into my heart, and it's just warming my heart up with references. How many people can I talk about Robert Blake with, right? I can't just talk about OJ with Dave. I can't talk about Phil Spector with many people. It's like you got a Barnwell, you got a Grimmer, right? You throw a Grimmer in there, then we're really off to the races. That was quite possibly one of the top 3 moments in 2021 on this show. And I might be the only one who's voting for that. Of course, I want everyone to enjoy the show. But what I'm hoping for is that when you hear these references, you go down a deep rabbit hole looking into what makes James laugh. Speaking of James, this coming Friday, we talked about Wednesday. Now we're going to talk about Friday. It is the first ever tandem birthday episode. On Sunday, September 5th, I, as well as friend of the show, Raquel Belmonte, turn our respective ages. We celebrate 2 days early with the first ever double birthday bash. Now, last year, my birthday episode, not only was it one of the worst birthday episodes, in fact, it was the worst birthday episode. It was one of the worst episodes in the history of this show. And I knew in good conscience, I can't do another James birthday episode because that'll run people away. But if I do it in tandem, I've got the opportunity to really celebrate my birthday on that show. Who's going to be here? Raquel Belmonte, of course, Dimitri Kires, Connor Rose. And guess what? I'm relinquishing the reins. I don't know what's going to happen. I did it last year. Didn't turn out well. I would like to think that the people that will be in charge this Friday will not let history repeat itself. That is on Twitch right here, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's move on and round out our Monday mailbag. Once again, Andy Assaf. Andy, thanks so much for that information, doing a deep dive on the Moody Blues. Andy, you like the Moody Blues?
I have not really listened to the Moody Blues nor many bands on this list, but I found this interesting part, which actually this singer-songwriter you put me on to. So, of course, the band Traffic was a vehicle for singer-songwriter, keyboardist, guitarist Steve Winwood.
Steve Winwood, famously known for "Think About It," which is a friend of friends of the show
What was that
called
other song though? That
we
sang
one that you and I specifically have shared memories over is "Roll With It."
"Roll With It" is a great song.
Now, Steve Winwood, I would say that real fans would probably not recognize those two songs as some of their all-time faves. They might look a little bit deeper into some Blind Faith or, as you mentioned, Traffic.
Well, this is what's interesting. A little synchronicity here. They're, speaking of woods that wind, their woodwind player was Chris Wood. So there's a lot of wood going on here.
So not only did you answer our question in regards to the Moody Blues, but you've also dug deep and you found some of rock music's greatest flautists.
The most forgotten flautists, yes.
Yeah. Here we go. This is a great episode. This is going to be in themes that only James cares about that will drive viewers away. Rock's greatest flautists. Andy, maybe after the show, you and I will do a listening party for some Moody Blues.
Yeah, I might have to go to sleep, but we'll definitely do that soon.
I'll tell you what. You want a great song to fall asleep to? You throw on Nights in White Satin.
I'll write it down. Nights in White Satin. It sounds nice.
Nights in again another bit of a spooky song.
What was that other creepy one that you're talking about?
In Memory of Elizabeth Reed by the Allman Brothers. It's instrumental and almost the antithesis to their other instrumental hit Jessica, which is upbeat and fun and playful. This one's spooky.
I did not know Allman Brothers to be a band that wrote sad or spooky songs.
Oh, well, I find it's very moody. It sets a mood, right? Hold on.
But I thought that was the Moody Blues who do. You see, they're all over the place with these band names.
Andy, there's a lot of spooky
This is why
songs.
You got to make a Flying Cabbage super band.
A lot of spooky songs.
Because there's a bit for everyone.
Yeah. Look, how about this? Spooky Tooth. The Mirror. That's a bit of a spooky song.
Yeah, that sounds like a fake song if I ever heard one. Spooky Tooth by The Mirror.
Yeah. Hold on, here we go. During the month of October, spookiest classic rock songs. Yeah. I'm not talking about, Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon. I want songs that aren't meant to be spooky that really are spooky.
Right. Kind of like Rock's Most Forgotten Spooky song, similar to Rock's Most Forgotten
Look,
Flautists.
I'll tell you what, Rocky Erickson, he's got songs about vampires and two-headed dogs.
James, I think you just don't want certain things to be forgotten. And I think that might become the role of
Yeah,
this
no,
show.
I want certain things to be forgotten, like Smash Mouth.
Oh, come on. What about the end scene of Rat Race? They did a great job there.
That movie sucks. The song sucks, and the band sucks. You know what I call? You know where those three things belong? In the toilet. Andy, are you ready to round out tonight's Mailbag Monday, aka James's self-gratification of rock and roll music night?
Yeah, I'm ready to race across the country like it's $1 million waiting in a
All right,
mailbox.
well, wonderful. We've got a couple questions left, so let's kick them off. We ended with a very adult question. Let's move on. This is a very short question. I haven't read these. This one comes from Dylan. Hello, Andy. My name is Dylan. I am 25 years old and live in the Point Claire village. I am a wimp. What should I do?
Interesting. Okay, well, this is very related to what we were talking about tonight. Point Claire Village. Did not know that was a place. Is that just the town, like the main town center in Point Claire, West
Exactly.
Island?
It must be like a resident. Yeah. So,
Okay, so don't refer to it.
Where famous bar The Pioneer used to be.
Okay. I've never been. I'd say rule one: don't refer to where you're from as a village. That just sounds innately wimpy, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And his name was Dylan, you said?
Yeah, Dylan, and he's 25 years old, and he alleges to be a wimp. What should I do?
Sorry for all
this
the
comes
Dylan.
with no context.
Yeah, sorry for all the Dylans out there. I'm going with what I have here. Dylan's a pretty wimpy name. Giving off a lot of wimp energy.
Okay.
Generally, right? Writing so shortly, like he doesn't believe in himself that he should write a longer question, you know? And Dylan, maybe go by a nickname like D-Dog or like
What about Dill Pickle?
Oh, okay. Now we're going like a Rugrats. That's kind of
Yeah.
fun. That turns it from wimpy to cute, right?
Oh, so maybe he could be kind of a little cutie in his own right.
How about this? Dyson.
Dyson? So like the vacuum.
Like the
And
vacuum.
they're gonna say, "Hey, Dyson, you are like the vacuum.
I don't
You
know.
Suck."
I don't know. I met a dog named Dyson recently. Pretty cool dog.
All right, so you're saying this guy should
Not a
pattern
wimp.
himself. You're saying this guy should pattern himself after dogs.
Have you ever met a wimpy dog?
Yes.
Not one's named Dyson.
All right. Well, Dylan, hopefully that answers your question. Thanks for watching the show. This one comes in from Heather. Hi, Andy. You and your little friend James seem to have a lot of fun chemistry. If I didn't know any better, it's as if you two are brothers, except one of the brothers is much smaller and younger than the other. I'm older than Andy. Anyways, I'm curious, what is an ideal night out look for you and James? Have a good week, Heather. Well, thanks, Heather. You have a good week too. Andy, now this is that you and I have never had a night out together.
That's not true. We have several nights out.
Hold on now. We've had several nights out as part of a larger group. Perhaps there's a Kirez in the mix.
Sure.
Perhaps there's a Grimmer.
Kaufman.
Maybe a Ross Jones. Maybe a Kaufman. Perhaps a Maitland. Maybe a Roland. Right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of periphery. Right?
Sure.
What now? I've never thought about this either. What does a night out look like with you and me?
I feel like for you and me to have a night out, just us two, I think we'd have to be going to some sort of event that is particular catered to like both our interests, like a show or an activity that you and I specifically would be into. That's kind of tough to really nail down, right?
Because you like activities and I don't.
Yeah, so it would have to be more leaning towards something you'd be into, right? So maybe like a book signing by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I don't think I would go to that, but yeah, perhaps.
So like I say, just for the sake of argument, we're going to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's book signing deal. This is a book signing / Ballers season 4 premiere or whatever.
Oh, I've never seen that show.
Just go with me
All
for
right.
a second, okay? The Ballers is more for me. The book signing's more for you, and the shaking Dwayne's hand. So we're on our way there, and we're getting a little hungry, right, James?
Mm-hmm.
So where do we stop? But Montreal Pool Room, right?
Oh, I like that, which you and I have frequented together before.
We get a nice steamy, right? and we go for a walk downtown, and we look at like, the Pussy Core or other various strip club signage, and enjoy looking at that together.
Okay,
And
so
that,
before we go to Dwayne the Rock Johnson's autograph signing,
Yeah.
we eat one steamy each and look at the signage outside of strip clubs.
yeah, because like, there might be like a girl that you went to high school with, or someone that I know that from the industry.
Mhm.
Anyways, after we're done that, we've eaten our hot dog. We're feeling a little sluggish, so we stop by
Sure.
for a nice little Tim Hortons double. Maybe a
Okay.
decaf if it's late, because Dwayne likes doing his events pretty late.
Sure.
So we get a little decaf going. Now we're having a wonderful time. We go to the event. It's great. I know exactly what we're doing afterwards. We're getting on the subway, James, and we're going
Yep.
down the yellow line, right? And
Hold on, the
and-
yellow line.
yeah, we're gonna go down the yellow line, and we're gonna have maybe a strange drunk woman approach us and talk to us. Some sort of strange event's gonna happen that only we're gonna share and remember, and no one else will have been there to believe it.
Right. Okay. So apparently we're on the yellow line. So this night sounds like it's taking a turn. Okay.
Because late night we decide, actually that steamy didn't hit the spot. Let's go up to Namur Metro to go to
So you're talking about the
Gunsmoked
orange
Meat.
line,
What did I say?
the yellow line. So if we're going to the yellow line, we're either going to the
To
University
Longueuil.
of Sherbrooke or we're going to Park Jean Drapeau.
Okay, scratch all that. Oceaga. That I think would be the perfect outing for you and me.
Okay, so you've just, Montreal Pool Room was probably the high point. A couple guys hanging outside of strip clubs, noticing the signage.
Not going in. No, we're not going to go in.
Not going in. We're just looking at the signage.
Yeah.
And then things take a really fun turn when I go to Oceaga, where I'm exposed to a lot of people wearing some of the worst possible hats. Andy, we have one last question. This one actually just came in.
Okay.
Once again, this comes in from DB_improvman at gmail.com. So he writes, "Hey, me again. So look, I tried exactly what you suggested. The problem is my cable is connected directly to my internet, so my TV is also at a low buffer rate.
Okay.
I went back to my computer in hopes that I could fix it, but it looks like my video card might be on its last legs. I'm up against the wall here, and I'm one walk away from stepping into a dépanneur to peruse their magazine section. No, I'm not talking about picking up a copy of GQ magazine as much as I'm talking about purchasing the newest edition of DP Monthly.
Okay. I didn't know.
If
Okay.
you were me, what would you do? Let me know."
Well,
This DB_improvman at gmail.com is desperate right now.
we've all been there, James. We've all been, at a point where we're resorting to things that we're not proud of, right?
A low point.
A low point, as you would call it. And you know what, DP Burn or improv guy, it's important to remember that maybe sometimes the world is trying to tell us something. Maybe it's time to maybe take a break. Step outside. Maybe do another kind of hobby than what
Right.
you're doing. I'm not saying you never have to do it again or you have to quit. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying maybe less frequent. Maybe find a job that keeps you busy, keeps your hands busy. I know there's like a lot of places reopening now, so it's just like find something that'll keep your hands busy, maybe like moving chairs around or cleaning up or doing various tasks that will keep you
Busy work.
Yeah, that'll keep you busy work so that you don't have to be the resort to going into a dépanneur and going for what was it, DP weekly or monthly?
Monthly. Weekly would be quite a publication.
Because look, exactly, it's not even coming out weekly. So at the rate, you won't even be satiated. You're just going to go in there, buy that magazine, and find that empty hole that has been there the whole time. And I think you need to, much like they would probably suggest in DP Monthly, fill that hole.
Andy, that's all the questions and the time that we've got for tonight. Thanks for being part of Mailbag Monday. Thanks for being a real trooper, stepping in fresh off of the tarmac. And I'll see you on Wednesday, okay?
Thanks, James, for having me. Yeah, I'll see you all soon.
That is Andy Assaf. Thank you for all the questions, whether it was Dylan, Heather, Aileen. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And don't be shy sending your questions at homewithjamesshow@gmail.com. Who knows? Maybe Andy is going to answer the next time. It might be our buddy, Thomas Barnwell. Look, guys, I know it was a lot of classic rock talk tonight, but sometimes I don't mind when the show veers towards my tastes, right? You got people coming on here. They're trying to force me to download dating apps, and that's part of the show. They make me take personality tests to disparage my good name. They're making me review their Greek restaurant menus. Is it the worst thing in the world? And maybe you're out there and you're like, hey, you know what? You're watching the show off to the side. You're not paying that much attention. And then you turn, you go, wait a minute. Are they talking about the Moody Blues? Is that really what's happening? And then the show ends and you hit up YouTube and you type in Nights in White Satin. You want to have a nice moody night with the Moody Blues. So if I was able to, I would end the show. I would play us out with that song, but due to copyright rules, we can't do it. But I'll tell you what I can do. I'd sing a little bit for you. This one goes out to anyone who's ever enjoyed the Moody Blues, or maybe you're learning the Moody Blues for the first time ever. So it goes a little something like this. Nights in white satin, never reaching the end. Letters I've written, never meaning to send. Beauty has always been with these eyes before. Oh, what the truth is, I can't take any more. 'Cause I love you. Yes, I love you. Now, this is the part where I get insecure. I think my neighbors, they're going to be like, 911. Yeah, I'm concerned about the mental well-being of my neighbor. He's singing the Moody Blues a cappella. Folks, that's our show tonight. I really very much appreciate you being here. We will see you on Wednesday and Friday. Until then, I am James. You are you. We were here. Good night, goodbye, farewell, and be well.